you have to remember that ultimately, when you get that result, you want a good result, right? And you have to remember that it's not me who awards the result. It's not your teacher who awards the result. It's the examiner. Okay. And the examiner has specific criteria. And the examiner's job, in a way, is kind of simple. All they do is they just read your writing, they look at the mark scheme, and they just try to see. Basically, the mark scheme is split into levels, right? So they just try to see if I can find an example for you quickly, actually. What they do is they'll read it. You see how this is split into levels, right? So you see you've got level 6, level 5, level 4, level 3, level 2, level 1, right? Basically, it goes from simple to advanced, right? So level 6 is the most advanced. So what they do is they just read your writing and they just try to see which level your writing matches most appropriately. And then they just award you the marks for that. And that's all it comes down to. I mean, the examiners try not to use like the intuition too much, but I think that like with an experienced examiner, they can tell if it's a good piece of writing. If it's a really good piece of writing, they'll be able to just award the marks really, really easily. And they'll know that, okay, this is a top level piece. It's got all the criteria and they can just award you. Otherwise, the rest of the time, they'll look quite carefully and see what does it match. So the technique that we teach you is basically just designed to help you to target that. That's it, right? So for example, you're saying that they teach you to use the peel structure, right? So if you have a look, I don't know if you remember this, but I did actually go through it in the demo session because it's something that I've seen over the years, right? So if you see here, I put this X next to PEE. And when I mean PEE, I mean actually PEE and all the variations, because they're all kind of really the same thing. It's so peel, peasel, petal, peak, all this kind of stuff. Some are obviously better than others, but personally, over the years of teaching, I've never seen a student go past a grade 6 using PEE or peel or petal or peak. I've never seen it, ever. So normally what will happen is they'll get capped at that, right? And the reason for it is because when you're using PEE, if you think about it, what is, or peel, right? What is peel? It's just point, evidence, explanation, link. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. But if we look at the actual criteria in the mark scheme, what does it actually say? So if we go back to that, right? There's a lot more that they're actually looking for the top level. There's a lot more. It's not just point, evidence, explanation, link. So for example, we teach a 5-paragraph essay structure. Your essay structure is good, right? So you're now writing the 5-paragraph essay structure. If you have a look here at the top level, it explicitly tells you a candidate's response is likely to be a critical, exploratory, well-structured argument. So well-structured, that's what the 5-paragraph structure is for. And then obviously within the structure, then we teach you the TTECEA structure. And the TTECEA structure is to ensure that you are targeting all of these things here. Okay. So for example, it says critical, exploratory, conceptual response, right? So critical basically just means that they ideally don't want to see you guys using the same old ideas that everybody uses, right? If you are going to do that, at least make it like detailed and explore it from different perspectives, maybe. In an ideal situation, you're going to have your own unique interpretations, but they have to match the ideas. They have to match what's going on in the text, right? So there's like a limit to how unique it can be. So for example, if I'm writing about the witches in Macbeth, everybody says the witches are powerful and they control Macbeth. It's kind of okay to say that. You can kind of see that in the text, but if you look at the text really carefully, if I was being really critical of the text, I'd say, but the thing is, there's no evidence that they make the predictions come true. There's no evidence of that. So for me, by saying that, I'm being critical. And I would say, if I look at the history of the text during Shakespeare's time, not everybody believed in witches. So it's possible that the way that Shakespeare's portraying the text is that he's trying to get us to ask that question: do they have the power or do they not have the power? Right. And then if you look at like the tragic plot structure, it's never really been since ancient Greek times. It's never been about blaming the supernatural. It's always been about blaming ourselves. It's a way of, it's meant to be about, we look at ourselves and say, hey, what mistakes did we make? We are responsible for our own downfall, right? So because of that, I'm not convinced that that text says that the witches control Macbeth. So I've got a different view and I'm going to argue my own unique interpretation for that. There's some other things as well. So what I'm saying is that although my argument goes against the traditional argument, I think I've got a good amount of evidence, not only from the text, but also from the historical context to substantiate that. I'm pretty confident that that's actually a valid argument, right? So you have to just be careful. It's like, yeah, you can have a unique interpretation, but it needs to be within the bounds of the text and the historical context. Then you've got like conceptualized response. To conceptualize is just the ideas. What's the idea behind it? So for example, if you see part of the TTECE structure, right, you've got topic sentence. If you see how I've been writing the topic sentence in the modeling session, in the topic sentence, I write about the idea, yeah? And that's to target this, okay? And then you see, so you got topic sentence, then you got technical terms, which is this, AO2. They want you to analyze the author's methods and use the technical terminology. So if you notice, I'll do my topic sentence, then I'll say, for example, the author uses a metaphor in this quote, right? So when I'm talking about metaphor, I'm targeting that, and then the quote is targeting this, judicious, precise references. So that's topic sentence, technical terms, evidence, and then what? Close analysis, right? So let me just have a look here. So if you look here, it says top level. There will be a fine-grained and insightful analysis, yeah? Fine-grained. They really want you to talk about something specific, right? Something very, very specific. That's why I do that close analysis. If you notice, I'll always pick a word, but if you really want to, you can even go down to like the sounds of the words, even the punctuation. Like with a professional author, they're going to think carefully. Why am I using this particular type of word? The sounds that it makes, even the punctuation, right? Inspector Calls, he uses a lot of dashes in there, a lot of dashes, and it's to like show when the characters are like thinking about different things. It's a bit hard to explain. But that's what they mean by fine-grained. Tell us something specific. That's what they want to know, right? And then, I bang on about this all the time. Effects on the reader, effects on the reader, effects on the reader. How does it make us change our focus, our thoughts, our actions, our focus, emotions, thoughts, or actions, yeah? And then AO3 is the context, right? So you know that the last part of that structure, TTECEA+C, is context. You link it to some aspect of historical context, right? So that technique is designed to target all of this. Whereas if you think about Peel, it's what? Point. Which aspect of point are they targeting here? You have to think about that, right? What is it targeting? And then evidence, okay, fine. Evidence, yes, we can say that that's this, right? And then explanation, what does that mean? All of this is explanation, all of this. So which aspect of the explanation are we targeting? Yeah. And then link to the question. Cool, fine, but it doesn't even say that here. Basically, what I'm trying to say is I stopped using PEE like within like 6 months. I've been teaching for 10 years. Within 6 months of me teaching, I was like, this doesn't help the students target the mark scheme. So I stopped using it. All of them. So I stopped using Peel, Petal, and then we started developing our own techniques. We initially created a technique called McAllister, which is similar to TTECE, but then I just found that TTECE was a bit more efficient and a bit more accurate, I guess. But that is literally the same technique that we teach the students, and like, I mean, the vast majority of students score grade 7 to grade 9.